Hey YouTube, it's KMB Hailstorm with the next episode of Geographic Geography. Today's episode, we're going to be doing Clipperton Island. Clipperton Island is a low-lying, uninhabited, though usually visited, coral atoll in the southeastern Pacific Ocean. The only island in the southeastern Pacific Ocean, to be precise. It was discovered sometime in the 1700s by shipwreck survivors, and has had on and off habitation until sometime in the 1930s, I think it was. The island was originally in possession of Mexico until they handed it over to France back in the 1940s, I think it was. After that, the island had on and off habitation, but then the island was completely abandoned in the 1960s and has only been scantily occupied by people who have been shipwrecked on the island, though it's often visited by scientists, filmmakers, survivalists, and some, though it's not as popular anymore, still some shipwreck survivors approach the island. The island is known for its lagoon that it has. Within the island is a stagnant freshwater lagoon, which is almost half, in the bottom, is about half covered by seaweed. So yeah, if you ever go into the lagoon there, I'd imagine it's going to be pretty mucky, but hey, walking barefooted on seaweed is better than walking barefooted on coral, right? Most of the island is low-lying because it's a coral atoll. In fact, much of it only rises to 6.5 feet or 2 meters above sea level. However, the highest point on the island is Clipperton Rock, a rock that is remnants of an extinct volcano that rises to 29 meters or 95 feet above sea level. Forgot to put the document up right here, Clipperton Rock. Clipperton Rock, like I said, is origins of an extinct volcano. There was a volcano on the island once, but it started eroding after a series of storms and eventually fell apart. So that huge rock, along with the rocks that are, like tiny pebbles and rocks that lie in the lagoon around the area, are all that are left of it. Coconut palms were planted in the 1800s, and a few are still around on the island. There's not a lot of natural resources on the island. The few would be probably the shelter you could take from the wreckage of the ship. If you go on the top of the rock, I hear it's a great view. You got all the windows inside the rock and the caves and the coves. And when you get to the top, you can see the lagoon and the ocean and the reef if the tide is low and all the old ships that were washed up on the island. They say, though, if you set up a camp there, you should probably, fence your area because of crabs and rats. You shouldn't eat the crabs there because I read that they were poisonous. Along with that, I also read that some saltwater areas actually spill into the lagoon, which is probably what stagnifies it. The island hasn't been flooded, though, which probably is what makes the freshwater lagoon not salty. There was an old lighthouse there that fell apart. Don't know what side it's on. I heard that Clipperton Island started to be polluted. So, in November of 2011, they started the Clipperton Project. The Clipperton Project was a project that was originally designed to clean the beaches, basically. Scientists went there in fall of 2011 to help clean up the beaches because birds were literally using toys, water bottles, and cans for their nests instead of sticks and stones. And it became unhealthy to the environment. Rats slowly started to be introduced to the island too. So it was basically both a cleanup program and an eradication program. And one of their slogans was, Clipperton Island is an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It is also an idea. I think what they meant by that motto is it's a good example of an environmental cleanup, basically, to help, preserve the world to be a better and cleaner place. In January 2012, it was reported the beaches were clean and that it was safe for birds to nest on the island again. Well, that's pretty much it for this episode. Next episode, I'm thinking of doing something like the Klee Passage or Rakahanga Atoll. I'm not really sure, so you'll just have to wait and find out. So long.